The man who lost $204 million on a trip to Vegas.
20% of Caesar's Palace Casino revenue came from one single person, Terence Watanabe. Born 1957 in Omaha, Nebraska, Terence began life as the son of Harry Watanabe, who founded one of the most successful carnival suppliers in American history, called the Oriental Trading Company. At the age of 15, Terence began working for his father, and by the age of 20, Terence had been given the role of CEO, after which he'd add an incredible amount to the business. By shifting the focus toward party products, Terence was able to grow the business from 17 local stores to a company generating $25 million per month. The only problem was
25 mil a month? How much is that a year? 300 mil a year? God damn. At 20 years old. Dude, 300 million a year in your 20s? That's crazy.
Terence had spent most of his life doing so, and had therefore experienced almost nothing outside of work. The job was all-consuming, say former associates. He traveled for long stretches of time examining merchandise in Asia. He never married. His sister and others who know him say they don't believe he ever had a significant romantic relationship. This was his life, that company. It engulfed him. Having burnt out by the age of 43, Terence put his share of the company up for sale, eventually selling for an undisclosed amount in October 2000, after which the goal was to have a charitable and fun retirement. Mr. Watanabe said his plan was to throw himself into his philanthropic work and have more fun. If it's not fun, it's not worth doing, Mr. Watanabe told his hometown newspaper, the Omaha World Herald, in 2000. He then created the
So he was a dude that overworked himself for 30 years. And then now he wants to have fun in the age of 40. Or at the age of 40. I want to say this, though. If a single casino is taking hundreds of millions of dollars from a single man, I feel like it should be the casino's moral obligation to stop them. I mean, even on a level of, like, when they're running out of money, I don't want to say they should implement something, but you shouldn't be able to gamble more than 20% of your net worth, right? I don't want to say, like, casinos should never have access to your bank account. But, like, you should never be allowed to gamble more than, like, 10% or 20% of, like, your actual net worth, right? Because, like, people will go into the casinos with, like, 30 grand total and lose all of it and then have $0, right? Like, have you ever seen the videos of people, like, crying on casino floors because they've lost everything they fucking have? Like, I understand it's their fault and it's like it's like their problem, they did it, but it's also they have a gambling addiction, right? It's the same thing as being addicted to, like, meth, right? I mean, obviously meth is a drug addiction, but, like, a gambling addiction is a genuine thing, right? Like, I disabled my gambling my online gambling accounts for like 3 months. Like, I can't even access them if I wanted to. Now, me personally, I'll lose like $30 and be pressed. But, like, there's guys that are going to the casino every day and they'll lose thousands of dollars, right? Like, you're addicted to gambling.
Harry K. Watanabe Charitable Trust before donating millions to AIDS and cancer research.
You would know? Dude, okay. Like, chat, I know y'all think it's funny to say I'm addicted to gambling, and I enjoy gambling, but, like, bro, stop trying to compare me to a man who lost $204 million gambling, okay? All time, I've lost like 2 G's gambling. All time, right? And 90% of that was on my birthday.
As well as various political causes. However, having worked all day, every day for over 20 years
That's a shitload of money. I know. I'm not saying it's not a lot of money. I'm saying, like, dude, it's like I've stopped myself. 2,000, yeah, that's a lot. I know it's a lot. But I'm saying, dude, like, on my birthday, I lost like 900. I already told the story about that, right? That was fucking half of what I've lost all time. You're still addicted. Well, now I'm not because I can't even gamble even if I wanted to. So W. Joe Bart for fucking... I literally last fucking... not last night. Last week, I disabled my fucking accounts. And I was like, I can't even access it even if I wanted to.
Complex business, Terence found little satisfaction in this new line of work. Donations from his foundation grew, but he soon became restless. Several business ideas...
Now I could still physically go to a casino. However, you know, that's like more work.
Including opening a restaurant, went nowhere. He didn't know what to do with his time, says his sister, and as the old saying goes, an idle mind is the devil's playground. With nothing else to do, Terry began a new...
I don't want to say gambling's boring when you got $204 million, but like, dude, the whole reason I find gambling interesting is because I can make a fuckload of money from it. If you already have a fuckload of money, why is that entertaining to you? Like, if you gave me $204 million, I'm not going to the casino to win money. Like, you already have money. I might go to the casino if I had $200 million to blow 100 G's on, like, slots, because I think it'd be fun. But, like, how do you... I don't understand how you get into a rut of, like, I need to make money from gambling when you're already so rich that you never need to work a day in your life.
Hobby of spending large amounts of cash, purchasing one of Omaha's largest and most notable homes, which featured 9 bedrooms, 18 bathrooms, a gourmet kitchen, a custom wine cellar, and a 3-story elevator. But it was rather a venue near this mansion that became his biggest financial danger. Terry began to travel across the border from Omaha to Council Bluffs, Iowa, so he could gamble at the Caesars Horseshoe Casino, which is self-described on its website as a true gambler's paradise, featuring...
You know what's crazy, though, is if you're that rich, you could go to small-time casinos and bankrupt them. That's why they have gambling limits. Like, I'm not talking about Vegas or, like, AC. Like, if you go to Vegas or AC, you could be a fucking billionaire and still lose money, right? And still win a shitload of money and they're fine, right? Because, like, the Borgata in Atlantic City has made, like, $6 billion in the last fucking 10 years or some shit, right? But if you go to, like, a small-town casino in, like, a fucking middle-of-nowhere city in, like, Omaha, or not Omaha, like, fucking Connecticut, or, like, fucking, whatever state, Vermont, and you win $10 million, you could ruin them.
Expansive round-the-clock casino floor, an 18-table poker room, a full-service Caesars sportsbook, and one-of-a-kind gaming areas. Terrence became, quote, one of the casino's top customers, and began devoting himself to gambling full-time as his primary income and livelihood.
Yeah, there's a full-time job there, brother. Yep, what's your job? I'm a gambler full-time. Let's just say I dabble in the blackjack tables.
Source. However, with his level of disposable income, hosts at the Iowa casinos encouraged Mr. Watanabe to play at the Rio and other Harrah's...
I love when people say their hobby is gambling. Like, just say you're addicted. Like, I like gambling. I'm not gonna say that shit's my hobby. Like, bro, a hobby is like knitting. Or painting. Or reading, right? If your hobby involves burning money... And sitting at a fucking roulette table like this, going, oh my fucking God. Like, that's not a hobby, right? You're stressing yourself out.
Casinos in Las Vegas. Having struggled to launch any new businesses, Terrence began to frequent Las Vegas beginning in 2005, where his existing gambling habit was intensified and joined with a drinking habit, satisfied only by a luxury vodka brand called Jewel of Russia, which retailed at over $200 per
$2.25 a bottle?
A bottle. In that
damn, dude, how much is a bottle of Svedka? Like 20 bucks?
Very same year, billionaire Steve Wynn opened the luxury Wynn Las Vegas, and by 2006, 1 year later, Terrence had spent so much money at the venue that the two arranged to meet. Remarkably, Steve concluded that Terrence was a, quote, compulsive gambler and alcoholic, leading Steve to ban Terry from the casino. However, given this was
good shit though, right? Get that motherfucker out of there. You can't come back. You've lost too much money. But I'm not giving it back. Sorry.
No fix for Terry's addiction. This simply became an opportunity.
But I'm not giving it back. Sorry. Thank you for the $50 million.
Opportunity for other venues in the area. Terry decided to take his money over to Caesars Palace, where a marketing executive promised to give him substantially more advantageous arrangements than the Wynn with respect to player comps, rebates, and other incentives, after which the casino created specifically designed incentives to keep Terry gambling at their venue. He was given tickets to the Rolling Stones, $12,500 a month for airfare, and $500,000 in credit at the gift stores. Harrah's also offered...
What the fuck are you gonna buy with $500K at a gift shop?
15% cash back on table losses greater than $500,000, special high-limit games, and other incentives. Mr. Watanabe resided for free in a 3-bedroom suite at Caesars, had access to his favorite bartender, and was constantly surrounded by attendants to serve his every need, such as a 7-course meal from the casino's Bradley Ogden restaurant, delivered to him while he was gambling, with these attendants later telling legendary stories about
how much do you think he's gambling a hand, though? Like, you gotta be gambling $100K a hand. For you to be able to burn $200 million, $100K a hand at a high roller table. Like, no doubt. 50 to 100K a hand, like, burn it, like GTA, right? Y'all ever sit down at the GTA casino and you burn 50K a hand? That's him in real life.
His behavior while gambling. Al DeLeon and Christian Kunda, 2 of Mr. Watanabe's personal handlers at Caesars, say he had thousands of Tiffany gift boxes filled with $50 gift cards or $100 gift coins that he would hand out to bartenders, nightclub operators, security guards, and others. They say he once told a security guard to go to a supermarket and buy every cut of steak, and then proceeded to hand them out to employees.
What are you gonna do with that? Dude, you're a great blackjack dealer. Here's a fucking tomahawk. It's just dripping. He just pulls it out of a trench coat. Yeah, you're a fucking great blackjack dealer, man. Thanks for the fucking nice hands. Here's a tomahawk steak. What are you gonna do with that? You're on the job for the next 5 hours. You gonna hand me a fucking wet steak?
Caesars Palace high rollers of this magnitude are often given exclusive loyalty program status called 7-Star, where members are wowed by all the fantastic benefits afforded to them, with additional rewards and all-round bigger and better perks. Yet the casino then literally created a new tier above this called Chairman, of which only—
Somebody said, Joe, I went to Mykonos, Greece, and it was $245 for a standard bottle of Grey Goose. That's normal at a nightclub in AC. In Atlantic City, a bottle of Grey Goose. Oh my God, Chad, I gotta fucking bitch to y'all. I went to did I tell y'all this? I went to a nightclub the other day. Before I had COVID, like 2 weeks ago, right? Guess how much a shot was? One shot this big. A mixed shot. $25 fucking dollars. $25 fucking dollars. Like, dude, a Jack and Coke was $20 for like a fucking red Solo cup full, basically, like a clear red Solo cup. They had bottle, like, if you don't know what a nightclub, like, they have bottle services, right? And there's these girls that their job is to just wear an outfit and look pretty, and they bring out a bottle and go. And they bring out a bottle, right? I could literally Google a fucking bottle service video and show you. And that's what they do. And they make a fucking bag, right? Bottle service, AC. I'm actually going to look up the nightclub I went to. Oh, here it is. They try to make it look way cooler than it is. It's not this cool. All right, those are the bottle girls, right? They make a fucking bag. They make a fucking bag. All they do is walk out. Yo, I respect the shit out of them, too. Because imagine making that much fucking money from that shit. They come out with a bottle, right? And like a sign or some shit. A regular bottle of, like a big size bottle of Grey Goose that would normally be like $100, right? That you would buy like at a liquor store at that nightclub costs $600 fucking dollars. 6 times as much as you would buy, right? Like, you're buying the bottle at a liquor store for $100. And at this nightclub, you're getting the same exact bottle for $600. And all they do is walk it out to you and go for like 10 seconds. And then they hand you the bottle and walk away. Crazy. I'm never buying that shit. I saw like 10 fucking groups buy that, and I was like, hell no. Hell no. The only reason I went was because we got a free table that night, because one of Brooke's friends like knew one of the DJs. And I was like, good shit, we're getting a free table. I would never go back to that fucking nightclub. And never go back to that fucking nightclub. I'd rather go to a dive bar where the drinks are fucking $2 and I can play pool.
Only Terrence
That's all I want.
Watanabe had the status of joining. Having been handed what you might call the ultimate life, Terry decided to stay in Vegas, yet with no intervention and nothing else to do, the severity of his habit began to get out of control. Several employees say Mr. Watanabe would stay at the tables for up to 24 hours, sometimes
The whole day?
losing as much as $5 million in a single binge. He was allowed to play 3 blackjack hands simultaneously, with a $50,000 limit for each hand.
150 grand a fucking, not a hand, 50 grand a hand, but 150 a fucking turn. Oh my God, I'd cry. If I did one hand for 50 grand and lost, I would cry for 5 weeks. I would be devastated.
And if he won, Mr. Watanabe says he regularly handed out to Caesar's employees bundles of $100 bills that could total as much as $20,000. In the meantime, Terry was visited by a former casino host from his hometown who explained that Terry appeared disoriented and couldn't remember the conversations they'd had in the past. He'd add that Terry was often seen stumbling around the casino or falling asleep at tables placed right beside loud nightclub music, yet the most notable observation regarded the type of machines that Terry liked to play. According to one of his former assistants, Terrence rejected any skill-based casino game like poker and instead gravitated toward games with low odds, including roulette and slots. He was considered a house player because slots and roulette are house games. They have terrible odds for the player, and the way he played blackjack, he made it a house game. He made such
I don't want to say, like, poker is a casino game, but poker is so different in that, like, casinos won't even list the money they make from poker, because poker is a player versus player, right? Like, if you win in poker, you're taking other players' money. You're not taking the casino's money, right? You buy in for a set amount and you win against other players. It's still a luck-based game in the sense of what cards you have, but poker's also like a sport, right? Like, that's why they have tournaments. Like, they're not gonna have roulette tournaments. They don't have blackjack tournaments. They have fucking poker tournaments because you have to be good at poker. You can be a shitty poker player.
Bad decisions on the blackjack table.
How poker isn't a sport? I'm not saying it's a... I said it was a sport. What I mean by that is it's like a competitive game. I'm going to Google it. Is poker a sport? Poker does meet the mainstream definitions of defining it as a sport. Poker's not a sport. Poker's not a sport. Poker's not a sport. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. What aspect does poker not define as a sport? What aspect of poker does it not fall into that would make it not a sport? It's competitive. You have to practice. You have to know what you're doing. It's gambling, though. It's gambling, but it's not. It's different, right? Like, it's in part gambling, yes. I'm not going to deny that it's not gambling. It's played at a casino. But there's places that run poker tournaments that aren't casinos, right? There's tournaments, right? Like, you get into it. It's not... I'm not going to say it's a sport, but I'm saying it's... I would not disagree that it's a sport, right? It's an addictive thing. It is gambling because money is involved. That's what is different about it than, like, football. But it's still a game where you have to know what to do, right? You have to know how to play people. You have to play your cards. You have to know what to do at all times. If there's ranks to poker, it is in a sense. Well, there is ranks in poker. I'm not, like, I understand it's an addictive gambling game, right? I'm not going to say it classifies itself as a sport as much as, like, football. But it is much more of a sport than blackjack, right? Or fucking roulette, right? Those are just straight gambling games. Poker does take skill. If you come into poker as a non-player and you just know the hands, you're gonna lose to somebody that knows poker 100% of the time.
But it was only when his brother and sister came to visit for
Blackjack takes skill. No, it doesn't. Blackjack does not take skill. Blackjack takes knowing when you have to bet, where you have to bet. It's not skill. Poker takes skill in the sense of, like, you can be a better player than somebody else, whereas blackjack is just knowing when to bet, knowing when to double, and knowing what bet schemes you have to bet on. You could just have the mathematical sheet in front of you, and you would know what to do. Blackjack is much easier to learn than poker.
Thanksgiving 2007 that he'd talk about just how these bad choices had cost him. In the 11 months since the beginning of the year, Terrence Watanabe had lost $127 million. Under the assumption that Terry had
Yo, untime him out. I feel bad.
Money somewhere, the casino then gave him a $17 million loan, although this by itself should have been a sign that he was almost out of money. On the 23rd of January 2008, just weeks after telling family about his losses, Terrence put his Omaha mansion up for sale while continuing to chase his losses in Vegas. He managed to sell the home for a price of $2.66 million. However, at this point, it was already too late. Terrence Watanabe—
If I'm down 30 mil though, I don't know if I could stop. Like, I'm not trying to judge him because I honestly think any of us in that situation are doing the same fucking thing. If you're down, if you have 100 million and you're down 80, you're gonna keep gambling. You can't just be like, all right, I'll take the loss and walk away, losing 80% of your net worth.
He was completely out of money. He'd wagered $4.2 million in 2005, $81 million in 2006, $825 million in 2007, and when his family brought him back to Omaha in early 2008, Terry had lost more than anybody else in Las Vegas history, with the 3-year trip costing him a total of $204 million. To make matters worse, Terrence had no job or income yet still owed the casino $14.7 million, after which Terry put the blame back onto Caesars, stating that his losses were their fault. Mr. Watanabe alleges that during this period, Haraz not only didn't make him leave when he was drunk, but applied him with alcohol and prescription drugs to encourage him to stay and gamble, leading to—
That's what every casino does, though. Why do you think the fucking drinks are free? Every casino. You don't pay for alcohol. It's free. Because when you fucking drink, you make shitty decisions.
Terry to launch a lawsuit against the casino. Court documents explain Caesars served Mr. Watanabe 2 to 3 750ml bottles of Jewel of Russia vodka per day, every day. No Caesars employee ever limited or cut off Mr. Watanabe's drinking, despite the fact that he was almost always visibly severely intoxicated when he was being served while gambling. On at least one occasion at Caesars in 2007, a concerned companion of Mr. Watanabe, Stuart Mitchell, pulled aside his cocktail waitress and pled with her to water down Mr. Watanabe's drinks. The cocktail waitress refused and curtly responded, Terry gets whatever he wants.
Oh, what a fucking dick. Because she's probably getting tipped fucking $200 a fucking drink. So she's like, Mr. Watanabe gets whatever he wants. Mr. Watanabe is king. He's dying! His blood alcohol level's a fucking 0.5!
Mr. Watanabe had at least 2 drinks at his table at all times, so that he could be kept in a constant state of intoxication while gambling. Mr. Watanabe's photographs were posted in the employees-only section of the casino in order to ensure all employees recognized him and never refused him anything. Caesars employees never attempted to limit or cut off Mr. Watanabe's drinking or restrict his gambling because they understood that any interference with his drinking or gambling could cost them their jobs. In response to the lawsuit, a spokesperson for the casino stated, "We're in the gambling business. We had no reason to believe that Terry Watanabe was anything other than a big player with huge resources who made an adult decision to bet the money he did. Are we going to provide an environment
yeah, that's just dickhead shit. You're saying you see Mr. Watanabe lose $80 million and you're just like, yeah, he got the bread for that.
Keeps him very happy. Of course we are. The casino then launched criminal proceedings against Terry, meaning that on top of everything, he was now facing up to 28 years in prison for the unpaid $14 million. An article was then published in the months that followed, announcing that both Terry and the casino had each dropped their lawsuits. However, Terry's life never recovered afterwards.
My name is Terry Watanabe. I've been diagnosed with prostate cancer.
On the 29th of July 2017, Terry announced that he had cancer, hoping to raise $100,000 on GoFundMe for treatment, with a description reading, "I've accepted my situation and do not pity myself. But my hope is that you'll find it in your heart to forgive me for my past and help me live long enough to help others in the future." Attached was a video talking about how bad things have become.
I unfortunately don't have the funds to survive. I'm almost homeless. homeless. I have no medical insurance.
Although despite this, he was unable to reach his goal, yet still managing to raise an impressive $28,000. In January 2020, Terry joined Twitter before stating, "Today I try to live a good life and be a good man. Despite my past flaws and mistakes, I've always sought to do good and help people. I hope I can still have a positive impact on those in the future by sharing my story, both highs and lows, funny and sad moments," showing that Terry quite impressively now took full responsibility for his own mistakes.
Wow. Dude, I mean, that's an insane story. For him to be that absurdly rich and lose everything. Right? Like, I mean, you always hear about the stories about people that hit the lottery and go from broke to rich back to broke. But, like, when you're already a rich businessman, losing everything is a much rarer story than somebody that just, like, hits the lotto for $1 billion, fucking blows it on yachts and shit, and then goes bankrupt. All right, next video.